I started the show saying, when is football back? Is it college? Is it pro? Well, here's somebody who's straddling this line. Here's somebody who's got a foot in both college and pro, because he also does Sunday Countdown on ESPN against me. This is how much I like this guy. I love this guy. I just upgraded from like to love because I just want to be honest.
He's very handsome.
Okay, I understand that. You actually passed yourself off as one of his brothers to poor Sage Steele one night in a post-ESPYs party.
That's a fact.
Exactly. And I think I'm done setting up the introduction. A man who had me at hello when we first fired up Seahawks camp for him in year 6 of his 18-year professional football playing career. He's Matthew Hasselbeck. How you doing, Matthew?
Hey, guys. What an introduction. Thanks, Rich.
Was that appropriate? I thought that was fully appropriate.
It was all good except for, like, the on Sunday NFL Countdown that, like, against you. Like, we're not against. Man,
Yes,
this is football. You flip back and forth. When I watch football, it's a commercial. I'm going to the next channel. I'm watching more football, more pregame. It's all football all the time, Rich.
Well,
all the time.
Matthew, let's just say when you were going up against, let's just throw it out there, Ben Roethlisberger, say in a big game. Let's just throw it out here, okay?
Hypothetically,
were you going against Ben? I mean, don't you think you were going against Ben? Wouldn't that be the proper terminology?
Yeah, I never thought of it that way. Like when a quarterback plays another great quarterback,
Yeah.
you're just trying to do the best that you can do.
Right.
I can remember even when, Brett Favre was a teammate of mine in Green Bay for 3 years, and then we got the chance to play against Brett Favre a bunch of times. And I would just try to do the best that I could be at quarterback, and then I usually wouldn't sit on the bench. I would stand on the sidelines and watch him, and just sometimes you just got to tip your cap when somebody else is doing a great job too. So, and I think maybe that's just because at ESPN we don't have any of those Sunday games. Like we don't, you get it. We're just sort of promoting all the games. We don't care if it's on CBS, NBC, ABC. We don't care. Just, Fox. We're just talking football.
So are you saying ESPN isn't all about ESPN, Matt? Huh?
No, they listen. They might be. They care about ratings. I care about spirals and touchdowns and end zone celebrations, and that's what I care about.
I do. So in all seriousness, I mean, what you're going to be on a plane like a million miles this fall, right? How does your week work? What are you going to do?
I'm all in. You have no idea. I'm actually teaching a class at Boston College on Tuesday night. Yeah. So, and then this Thursday night football thing just kind of came together. It's been kind of a rotating crew, and I was really like standing on the table, like, you guys, Thursday night football is like the best. Like, we need to make Thursday night football a thing. And they were like, okay, you can do it. I was like, whoa, no, not me, like someone else. And they were like, no, you got it. Like, who do you want to work with? And so anyway, I'm working with Pat McAfee, Adam Amin, Molly McGrath. Love our team. We're diving into college football. We got Luke Fickell in Cincinnati. They won 11 games last year. He's coach of the year in his conference, going up against Chip Kelly, Mr. Innovation, trendsetter, brilliant mind, a guy I worked with at ESPN when he was out of football.
Right.
So I'm fired up. This is like super fun. Cincinnati, Ohio is jumping. There's a Colts-Bengals game here tonight at 7:00, and there's a UCLA Bearcats game here at 7:00 in this same city. So it'll be we'll find out, like who is it, college football? Is it NFL football? My feeling is that Nippert Stadium is going to be rocking tonight.
I think so. I mean, if you're going against a fourth preseason game, you know usually what happens in fourth preseason games. And I do want to talk about the Colts with you in a second. But you know how I feel about Pat. I mean, this is going to be great. The Matt and Pat show, or if you don't mind, I getting the top billing here. I'm very excited to see what this is going to be. What is it going to be, do you think?
Well, let me just say this. We showed up yesterday for our production meetings with the UCLA football coaching staff.
Yes.
We show up, we're walking like upper deck of the stadium, and on the field, we see the strength and conditioning coaches going through like a CrossFit workout on the field with like a hex bar deadlift, pushing a sled, and they see us walking. They're like, Pat, come down here, jump in the workout. And we're all sort of just like laughing, ha, 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 we're not dressed for that. Pat's in jeans, he's in Stone stonewashed jeans with like holes cut out in the knees. Next thing I know, I look down. Pat is on the field pushing a sled with 225 pounds. He's carrying a hex bar deadlift, doing this CrossFit workout with the guys before he's running back up the stairs. I think it's going to be epic television. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. I said to Adam Amin, our play-by-play guy, I'm like, listen, Adam, you've called everything. You've called the hot dog eating contest. You've called it all. This is going to be like nothing you've seen before. And he said, I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
So no wonder he was able to put down 35 ounces of steak last night. That happened, right?
That happened. That's what it is. Like, I used to go out for O-line dinners the night before game, and whenever we would come and play the Bengals, there's a couple restaurants we would hit here in Cincinnati, and the O-lineman would like try to finish the big ribeye, the big steak, and Pat was up for it last night. And just one more thing, I know this about television. It's no different than playing in the NFL. It's all about the team. It's all about the group. There's some people that are on camera that you know about. They're an important part of the team. There's just as many people behind the scenes that you'll never see on camera that matter a lot. And so that's the part that I've loved so much about this, getting to still be in football, talking about pro football, college football, and now teammates again with Pat McAfee. He's going to be great.
Matthew Hasselbeck here on the Rich Eisen Show, getting set to call with McAfee and the crew, UCLA at Cincinnati, right here. That's tonight on ESPN, and he's right here on the Rich Eisen Show right here. Let's get to a former teammate in Andrew Luck. With you, Matthew, were you just floored, stunned? What were you when the news, or did you know beforehand from Luck?
Yeah, and I did not know. Actually, I was texting with him that day. He didn't say anything to me.
No way.
Probably because of my close relationship with guys like Adam Schefter. But it was Adam Schefter that broke the news.
Right.
I was watching the Miami, Florida college football game, and I saw the tweet from Adam Schefter, and I had to read it 3 times. I thought, that someone must have hacked Adam Schefter's Twitter account. Like, that can't be true. So I texted Adam Schefter and I said, hey, the tweet that you just sent out, is that true? And he wrote back 100. Like 100% true. And I really didn't believe it, quite honestly. And then shortly thereafter, it was Adam Amin on the call for the Chicago Bears, actually, where the news was out there, and Andrew Luck is stuck on the sideline. It was this really surreal situation where you had Adam Amin and Jim Miller talking about it on television. You have Indianapolis Colts fans taking off their Andrew Luck jerseys. They can't believe it. Not how they expected a third preseason game to go. And Andrew Luck stuck on the sidelines. And so a couple minutes later, Andrew Luck was on camera at a press conference sharing his side of the story, and it made perfect sense to me. Like, when I heard it come from him, it made perfect sense to me. And I don't think people really fully realize how difficult it is to come back from one surgery, never mind, multiple surgeries or multiple injuries and the things that football players have to go through. And so it's just, it's unfortunate if you're a fan of football, but knowing Andrew as I do, I know that he's given it a lot of thought, and I know he's at peace with his decision. Have you spoken or texted or communicated with him at all since then? Yeah, so we talked on the phone maybe the last 2 days. And he 100% believes that he is done with football. I think the hardest part for him is that, he's a guy that cares a great deal about what his teammates think. He's earned their respect. And I think he wanted to make sure that his teammates weren't going to resent him or feel negatively towards him. But he talked to a lot of those teammates, I think, even before it broke. And, those guys were very positive, thanking him for what he's meant in their career, thanking him for the kind of teammate that he was. And quite remarkably, in my mind, keeping the secret. Like, for the amount of teammates that he talked to, for them to keep the secret is a testament to the relationships that he's forged in his locker room and the respect that guys have for him. And I mentioned it, to my wife. I said, it's not only the guys in the locker room that he shares, the teammates that respect him. He's one of those guys that every opponent, every coach that goes up against him, really has a tremendous amount of respect for him. And that's not always the case. Sometimes you don't respect guys that you play against. You feel like they're overrated or things like that. But I don't think anyone would say that about Andrew Luck.
Matthew Hasselbeck here on the Rich Eisen Show. And the thing that it struck me is just the profound sadness that he just came to the conclusion, which in his mind is just unwavering, the conclusion that the only way out of the way he was feeling, forget about feeling physically, feeling mentally, the only way out was to get out of football. And how difficult that must have been. Can you, for fans who are still to this day confused as to how that could happen, can you give voice to having spoken to him and having played the position as you did for 18 years professionally? How does that happen?
Well, I think there actually are a lot of guys that walk away like that. Maybe not the caliber, the Hall of Fame caliber of an Andrew Luck, so we don't hear about them in the news. They don't show up on the ticker. But like I said, a lot of things go into it. Sometimes it's, you have your identity is sort of wrapped up in who you are as a football player, what the score on the scoreboard is, what the stats are on the sheet. And sometimes that can get taken away from you, whether it's injury or whatever, and you feel a little lost. You feel isolated from the team, especially guys that go on IR. They feel isolated from the team. They feel like they're not plugged in. And, I think of Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski had an announcement in New York City, and we all think of Rob Gronkowski as like a really fun, energetic kind of guy. And he mentioned the fact that, hey, physically, I could play, but mentally and emotionally, and he got choked up. And I've been there. I've been there. The end of 2015 was the year that I retired, and I knew that the injuries that I had weren't serious enough that I couldn't come back from them, but mentally it wasn't in a place where I could commit 100% to my teammates and being all the way back. And I think my feeling is that Andrew Luck is somewhere in there, and where he feels like, you know what, I don't know if I have 100% to give to everybody. And he's not the kind of guy that would ever be able to look himself in the mirror if he was giving 85% or 90%. He's a guy that would have to give 100%. I played with a guy named Walter Jones in Seattle, one of the greatest football players of all time, quiet guy, offensive lineman. Maybe people don't know a lot about him, but he retired because he wasn't able to play at the standard that he had set for himself, which was one of the great players of all time at that position. And it was a head-scratcher to a lot of people, but if you knew Walter Jones, it wasn't a head-scratcher. And I think in the same way, if you know Andrew Luck, he's got to be all in. And whatever he was dealing with his latest injury, with a lot of pain, if he was told, hey, listen, you could do this, but you might be able to practice once a week or twice a week, I don't think that's a solution for him that works.
Yeah, I know. And it's important that Gronk said what he said, Matt, because, Gronk's not known as an overthinker like, say, Luck is. And I don't want for this to come out of it saying that NFL fans or NFL scouts just say stay away from the overthinkers and smart guys, as opposed to let's pay attention more to the mental aspect of this game and help everybody out, whether it is some form of a CBD to help with rehab or to help mentally. If it is marijuana, I'm serious. We need to start thinking about the mental aspect of this game and look at Luck's retirement that way and Gronk's statement that way, as opposed to penalizing the so-called smart guys.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing that happens is there's an old school culture in football where if a guy is hurt and not practicing, the coach won't even acknowledge your existence. They'll walk right by you and not say hi to you because you're not practicing that day. There's some of that, and we've gotten better in the football community that way. But there is a feeling of isolation when you get away from the team, when you're not plugged into the team. And I thought, to me, the most telling part of the Andrew Luck press conference was when he was open and honest and vulnerable about what his feelings were towards Jacoby Brissett, one of his good friends. He's saying, I was very, very jealous of Jacoby Brissett, the guy who was, the fun-loving, teammate and starting quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts when I wasn't able to be, and I didn't like, the person that I was feeling that way. And there's just a lot to that, like not feeling part of the team, and I don't know. I guess I'm agreeing with you, but also saying that there's such a mental component to being an NFL football player where you have to almost you got to be all in, just like you have to be physically.
Last one for you on this one, because I know you got to go. You played there, obviously, in Indianapolis, teammates of Andrew's. What'd you think of the booing and the fan reaction?
The word I would use is regrettable. I think everyone there will regret it. I kind of understand how it happened. They probably felt like the rug got pulled out from under them. There was a lot of optimism last year. He's a comeback player of the year. They're a team with Super Bowl aspirations. They're feeling like sometimes people feel like, I think because you make a lot of money and Andrew Luck makes a lot of money, because you make a lot of money, you don't have any problems. Like, well, what problems could you have? You make a lot of money. And, I think there's a lack of sympathy for people who have a high salary, and that I probably would put him into that boat. But I know him personally as someone that would play for no money. He would play for free. And I have always felt that way about him. And knowing that, I know that like the decision was never about that. The decision was something else. And so for the fans, I don't think they felt that, and I think it was sort of just a knee-jerk reaction. I know that community. I played there for 3 years. They're a wonderful fan base, but it was a very bad look. And again, I think I would imagine that in time, everyone who did that would regret it.
So what do you think, having spoken to Andrew and knowing the organization, knowing the fans? Yesterday I was on Good Morning Football on this show. I threw it out there that maybe some point during the season, if Andrew's feeling up for it, and that the team is in a position where maybe they're successful enough that they could welcome Andrew back for a day. Maybe he comes back for one day, and a halftime ceremony. Doesn't have to be a number retirement, or doesn't have to be a Ring of Honor, but he just waves to the crowd and walks through that tunnel one more time and gives everybody gets a mulligan. What do you think? Is that possible?
I love it, and I love it. And, yeah, I think the majority of the people I don't think the fans that were there in the fourth quarter of the third preseason game are indicative of the people that have been there through and through with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne and Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. I mean, that is a wonderful fan base. As an opponent going in there, I know what kind of fans those, are there in Indy, and having been there as a player. I like the idea, but I would also say what I said to Andrew Luck, almost all of us have been there as a starting quarterback in the NFL, where your home fans get upset with you and turn on you for a time, and it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a terrible human. It just it's part of the job, and it's an unfortunate part, but it's part of the job, and it's not going to be the worst thing that you ever deal with in your life.
Well, sir, you're a great human as well. Your whole damn family is. You know how I feel about the Hasselbecks. Say hi to your whole family. I'm so excited for you to hear what you and Pat and the rest of the crew sound like in the booth. And if you want me to Skype in or whatever to one of your Tuesday night classes, I'd love to check to see what Professor Hasselbeck looks like. I'd love it.
Now we're talking. I appreciate it. Yeah,
weave me into the syllabus, Matthew. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I had to get my syllabus approved by the dean. That was the hardest thing I did this offseason. Yeah, that's a lot of work, man. That is a lot of work.
All right. Well, next time I want to hear more about the syllabus. You take care of yourself. Have a great cast tonight.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
You're the man. That's at Hasselbeck on Twitter and Instagram.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download the Rich Eisen Show app.